Greetings from Cybertron. This is SoundJack here with another episode of SoundJack's Rambles.
Spooky edition. Woo!
Okay, it's November 1st. We missed the date for spooky. This is the Halloween clearance podcast.
Woo!
Spooky cheap prices on candy. Ooh. Anyway, today I am here with Alyssa.
Hey! What's up? Hope you didn't miss me too much.
And today we are here to talk about Young Frankenstein.
Woo!
So, little background on this movie in terms of its origins. Alyssa, will you go ahead and give a little bit about what this film is about?
So, Young Frankenstein is a Mel Brooks comedy movie that was released in 1974, according to Wikipedia.
Wikipedia is the most trustworthy source.
Of course. And it stars Gene Wilder of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory fame, as well as, Peter Boyle, who plays the monster. And Peter Boyle is the, if any of you know Everybody Loves Raymond, that comedy show, he's the Raymond's dad, I think, on the show. So that's the other notable performance he's had. And basically, the premise is that it's a spoof movie on Frankenstein, the 1931 film, which is also in turn based on what's the year that Frankenstein was released?
The novel?
Yes, the novel.
I am terrible. 1800s, late 1800s. That much I know.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm hearing 1874, but that feels wrong.
Okay, well, we'll correct ourselves if that's wrong. But yeah, basically, if you have seen a Mel Brooks movie before, it's pretty much that. And basically, the plot is Frankenstein, really. You know, a doctor. It's a little different. Gene Wilder in this movie plays not Victor Frankenstein, but Victor Frankenstein's grandson. And it's in modern day.
Yeah. Frederick Frankenstein.
Yeah, he's very insistent that he's pronounced Frankenstein. And he gets this will, and he goes to his grandfather's old castle up in Transylvania, and he basically revives his work to reanimate a corpse. And yeah, basically hilarity, hijinks ensue. I won't go into all the details. There's also a Igor, who plays him. Marty Feldman plays Igor. I'm not sure what else he's done. He was a pretty famous British comedy dude. But I think Young Frankenstein is the most notable acting role.
He did receive a Best Supporting Actor award from the Saturn Awards.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So he's pretty well known. There's also Inga, who is Frankenstein's love interest, which is interesting because he has a fiancée whose name is Elizabeth, which is a reference to the novel. And
I missed it. I can't believe I missed it.
Yeah, her name's Elizabeth, and context. SoundJack is a huge Frankenstein nerd.
Yes.
So I'm surprised he didn't catch the fact that they referenced Elizabeth.
It has been a while since I read that novel.
Yeah. But anyway, those are like the main characters. There's also a woman named Frau Blucher. And she is Victor's girlfriend, estranged girlfriend after she died. He died. There's also I think Herr Falkstein is the dude with the arm, right?
Yes.
Yes. There's also a guy with a wooden arm, and there's a lot of physical comedy with him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just some of the major minor characters that are in this movie.
Yeah.
So I actually have seen this movie before. We were coming up with what we wanted to watch for this podcast.
I will let you all in on a secret. Alyssa did come down this past weekend, so we were able to record in person.
Woo! No more awkward Skype dissonance stuff. Yay!
Not today, at least.
Yeah, right.
And we wanted to talk about a different film that we had connections to, and that also my roommate Potter had connections to.
Yep.
But as so happens, every time Alyssa comes down, he's somewhere else for the weekend.
He doesn't like me, guys.
No.
He somehow finds a way to skip town whenever I'm around.
We're kidding, by the way.
Yeah, no, he and I are friends. Don't worry.
Just in case you don't get sarcasm.
Yes, don't worry. We love you, Potter.
It's just convenient. It's just such a coincidence. Yeah. And then we're like, well, we can't do that now. And then we were just like, oh wait, I haven't seen Young Frankenstein yet.
Yeah.
So let's do the Young Frankenstein.
And we thought, Halloween, Frankenstein, it makes sense. It's not the scariest movie ever, but it's still
So admittedly, my backup plan was to talk about The Princess Bride, but they took it off of Netflix. So.
Yes, which is unfortunate. Maybe someday we'll talk about The Princess Bride if we find another way to watch it.
Yes, but regardless.
So I've seen this before, as I said, and I first watched it actually with my dad because he has it on DVD, and he really likes Mel Brooks, so he introduced it to me, and I thought it was really funny. So that's how I got into it, and I mean I'd watched other Mel Brooks movies up until that point, but then that's how I first watched it, and then I watched it again, and I recommended it as a potential talking point.
Yes.
So that's how I got into it.
Yeah, for me, like we brought up, I have never seen this before. Granted, in the past, I have been prone to not want to watch it. Mm-hmm. Just purely because I was working on some Frankenstein-related projects in the past that have kind of stalled out now. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I didn't want to take influence from other versions. I wanted to be really true to the original novel.
Yes.
But that, like I said, those plans are kind of haven't been touched upon in a while. So I was like, you know what, let's do it. Let's watch it.
Yeah.
Granted, however, most of my friends recommended me to see the musical version since there is a pretty notable musical of this film.
There is.
Which obviously is why people were recommending it to me, because holy crap, the trifecta, more than trifecta of things that I am nerdy and into are Transformers, Pokemon, Shakespeare, musical theater, and Frankenstein.
If those were somehow all in the same thing, I think you would probably have an aneurysm.
Yeah.
And die on the spot from excitement.
So what we're talking about is Transformers and Pokemon meet in a musical adaptation of the novel Frankenstein written in Shakespearean prose.
Pretty much. I don't know how that would work.
I could understand like either Transformers or Pokemon.
Right, but combining both of them together, how that happened? I guess maybe you replace Pokemon trainers with Transformers? Like the Transformers are the Pokemon trainers?
I don't know. This is very, very off topic. Anyway, but holy crap, if Frankenstein is not my favorite novel. I am a slow reader, so I do not tend to read books all that much, but holy crap, Frankenstein was the one that got me.
Frankenstein's very good. I've also read the original novel, and it's really interesting. It's probably the first true sci-fi novel. And it was written by a woman, no less. So
thank you, Mary Shelley.
Mary Shelley's great, guys. Love Mary Shelley. And there's so much about it that's really interesting. You know, the parallels to Prometheus. There's also some I remember when I was talking about it in high school and English class, we would talk about the parallels to fatherhood or parenthood and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's a very romantic novel.
Yes.
And by romantic, I don't mean romance. I mean romantic as in the Romance period of literature.
Yes. Absolutely.
So, that if you're into, I don't know, if you haven't read the original novel, I would highly recommend it.
Do it.
It might be a little bit of a slog to get through for some people.
Hashtag sponsor us, Mary Shelley.
Mary Shelley's dead. She can't sponsor us.
I'm making a running joke here.
Isn't Frankenstein in the public domain anyway? How she's fine. How can I?
Anyway, too much silliness is going on. This is why we should keep going over Skype so the silliness doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But regardless.
Right. Now, but blah blah blah. So I think we would say that we would recommend it. I would definitely recommend watching Young Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. If you like comedies, this one's really great.
Yes.
I think what's also nice about this one is that it has a lot of its comedy is it's really poignant, and I think spoof movies are such a rarity nowadays. So while having a spoof movie that really commits to the spoof aspect of it is like really great, and I think that this movie does that really well. But I would totally recommend it. Mel Brooks is great.
Yeah.
Young Frankenstein is one of his best. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's my favorite Mel Brooks movie, but I do like it a lot.
Spaceballs
is wonderful.
Yeah. Definitely needs to be a talk someday.
Yeah,
but
right.
Anyway, I'm presuming after this point we are going to get very much heavily into spoiler territory, if there even is a spoiler tag on a movie that is 44 years old.
Yeah.
At this point.
I mean, also, if you've read Frankenstein or watched the original 31 movie, most of the major plot points are in there, sort of. I guess really it's the comedy jokes that we'll be spoiling. Yes. So if you don't want to have that spoiled for you, then,
Yes.
Move on by.
Yes. But anyway, so now getting into the meat of the film itself.
Okay. You go.
Okay. I am going to say, I will also say with my project with Frankenstein, mm-hmm. I have also not seen other adaptations because for my understanding they are poor adaptations of Frankenstein. I remember this I was heavily involved with it when a few years ago there was like some new Frankenstein movie.
Really?
I forget what it was called, but like it was released a few years ago, and it was like Frankenstein's monster in the modern day. And I was like, no. It was kind of like, I don't know why. I don't exactly remember what it was, but it felt like it was like Frankenstein's monster became a monster hunter. And he was like the main character. And it was like, well, now to hunt these monsters in the real world. It was like a hard pass. But regardless, I have not seen other adaptations of Frankenstein in the movies because, again, they don't seem fairly truthful.
Yeah.
Especially with, his name. It's not Victor. In the novel, it's not actually Victor. Victor is his friend.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's been a while since I read the novel, so...
It's been a while, and now I'm completely forgetting what his actual name was, but I am positive that Victor was his friend.
No, it's Victor Frankenstein. That's his name.
No? Really?
I think so, yeah. Victor.
There was. Hold on.
You're probably confusing it with...
I must be confusing it with one of the other movie adaptations, because I definitely remember reading there was a movie adaptation that conflated the names of Frankenstein and his friend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was like, I'm pretty...
Yeah. No, okay.
Sure.
I should have read up on Frankenstein before reading this.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
It was his best...
It happens.
It was, yeah. No. Whatever. I can't find it right now.
Maybe you're thinking of Captain Walton?
No.
No?
I'm talking about the friend that comes to... Henry. Yes, it was Henry Frankenstein. One of the films called him Henry Frankenstein.
Oh! That's so weird.
Yeah. Regardless, again, this is not a discussion of the novel. We will talk about the novel absolutely at some point.
Yeah, okay.
But regardless, my point with all of this is I liked it for what references I was able to catch from the original novel. There were a couple of moments of dialogue taken straight from the original novel, which I was like, holy crap, I caught that reference. Yes.
Yeah, there are some... what's really great about this adaptation is that for one thing, it takes from the novel, but it also is definitely a send up to the 1931 film Frankenstein. And in all of its ways, it's filmed in black and white. It actually uses some set pieces from the original 1931 movie.
From what the start of the film said, it was like all of the original lab equipment.
Yeah, so that even makes the authenticity of the spoof even better.
Yes.
And it also used like those really classic old, fade and wipe effects that you don't see in movies.
Yep.
Really, except Star Wars might be the only movie I can think of that has those.
But not that
cheesy transitions.
bad.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I think one of the things that makes this movie so stand out to me and what makes it really great is, again, the spoof works because it sets up the same atmosphere that the original movie had. Black and white, same like sound quality, the same setting, same characters for the most part. That's the novel.
I was like, wait, we were talking about what year it was released, so now let's check while we're here.
Oh, that's right. It was
published anonymously in 1818. Wow, I was off by half a century. Yeah.
Yeah, but there were multiple versions printed.
Yeah, but that was the original.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so that's
regardless
way before. Anyway, so. What did you like the most about the movie, as someone who really likes Frankenstein?
In terms, besides the good references, the fact the creature ended up being sentient.
Yeah.
Because that you definitely do not see, and it was clear, and it was good that it wasn't the fact that the process was just poor. It was they ended up getting a brain that was not that Abby Normal's brain. They got Abby Normal's brain, and they shouldn't have gotten Abby Normal's brain because it was an abnormal brain.
Oh my god!
But
that's one of the best lines of the whole movie.
But in the end,
Abby Normal.
Yeah. But in the end, they are able to get him to be intelligent, and then everyone's like, "Oh, okay, you're not a monster. You are a sentient individual. You are able to communicate on an equal level with us. Yeah, let's be friends."
Yep.
And I'm like, yes, because that was what the creature was. He was a sentient being. And why did they make him a dumb butt monster? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really great how they incorporated that aspect and how they sort of hand wave the aspect, as he doesn't have a very developed brain, so that's why he acts the way he does.
Yes.
I think a lot of the best aspects of the movie for me, like I said, I really liked the setup, and I also think there's a lot of really good jokes in this movie. I think some of my favorites was there's a scene where after the monster comes to life, he starts choking Victor, and and so they have a sedative on standby in case that happens, and he's choking and because he can't talk. He's and then they start doing charades, and they're like, I don't know what's going on, and then at one point, Igor's like, we have to give him a set to give, and oh my god, that was great. Igor's probably one of my favorite characters in the movie. He's so funny. Everything he does, it's just you'll watch him. Sometimes I'd just watch him just to see what he would do.
Yep.
And he'd do things that were really funny. Oh my gosh.
Wasn't your hump on the other side?
What do you mean?
Never mind.
His hump changed sides. That was so funny. I really liked that aspect of it.
Wait, hold on. Question: didn't Mel Brooks also do that one Robin Hood movie?
Yeah, he did Robin Hood in Tights.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure because I remember there was a very similar pun going on in there.
Yeah.
You just have some repeated gags, but hey.
Yeah, I think what makes the gags really great is that they're all it's all wordplay or physical comedy and stuff like that.
Most of them are not overplayed.
Yes.
There are a couple that right at the beginning they were overplayed a little bit. Right. And then they were referenced later.
Yes.
And it was oh, okay, they brought it back.
Yeah. Especially, I think the prime example of that is Frau Brucher. Every time they say her name in the movie, there's like a horse neigh in the background, and they have it happen a couple times. I think the best part in the original scene where they introduced the gag was when Igor goes out and just says Brucher, and then the horses do their thing, and then he just has a satisfied smile on his face. And,
that was
and goes inside.
And then she disappears for half the movie, and they come back and Frau Brucher, and there was and I was like, oh,
there he is.
Good on you for the consistency.
Yeah. And then, there's just a lot of really funny stuff that happens in them.
Yes.
A lot of sexual innuendos too. Would you like a roll in the hay?
Rolling the hay.
Roll in the hay. There's a scene when Ina, who's one of the other assistants, is first introduced. She's they're in a hay bale wagon thing, and she's just laying in hay, and then she's like, "Would you like a roll in the hay?" It's like, I gotcha. Yep. I saw what you did there. I wanted to say, Gene Wilder, my God. I think watching what he does, you really learn to appreciate what a wonderful actor he was. Mm-hmm. He just knows how to do stuff. He is committed to what he's doing in this one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How did you feel about
the acting was very good.
Gene Wilder's.
All the acting was very good in this film. Gene Wilder was great. Even the one kid in that classroom was pretty good.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Igor also was a blast. All the main characters were all really good.
Yeah.
Main as in the ones that predominantly showed up, including some of the secondary characters.
Yeah. I don't think there was anyone that was really that was bad. Even the blind man was great.
Yes. Speaking of which, another good reference from the original novel.
Yep.
Along with him talking to a kid.
Yes.
Both good references.
And all of the physical comedy that I did with the blind man was wonderful. Mm-hmm. That was really great.
Yeah.
Also, he's got to have some strong hands if he's able to break a mug by just...
Or that was a very weak mug.
Or it was a mug that just didn't have good integrity behind it. That's also possible.
I've done that once.
Yeah. I also have to say, I think the Herr Faxing was really funny. He's one of the officers in the town.
Yes.
And he has a prosthetic arm. And he also has a really thick accent.
What accent was that even supposed to be is my question.
I don't know.
It's just thick. It wasn't Transylvanian because no one else in the town was able to understand him.
Yeah, it was a really funny sight gag too.
Yeah.
I also think it was best. See, it's the little things that get me about this movie. And that character had an eye patch, but he had a monocle over the eye patch. It's just the nonsensicalness of it is just great.
Yes. I will say, if I'm able to move on from favorite things,
sure.
That it was both, that at parts it was certainly both played comedic and serious, to enough of a degree, that it did feel a bit more of a serious film than some of Mel Brooks' other films to me.
Yeah.
Because not necessarily, the cold open was pretty serious. There's not any visual gags going on with that introduction. Mm-hmm. The first gag we get is when we're opening Frankenstein's tomb, and then the gag with the thing. Yeah. And that was a minor thing, and then we go into the lab, into the science room, and then it's all pretty serious stuff.
Yeah.
There's a couple of minor gags, but it's not this is like Men in Tights, that all of the gags right there, all of the gags are there was enough weight to it.
Yeah, I think the reason why, and like I said, I think it goes back to the fact that he's trying to set up the sort of same scenario that existed for the 31 movie. The 31 movie is supposed to be a horror movie. Yep. So, horror movies by their nature are supposed to be very atmospheric. So even in a comedy movie, you have to set up that like that deep dark tone. Otherwise, the jokes aren't as funny.
Yeah.
Because if you have like, what's more funny, right? A parody of, like, because the point of a parody is that you have to show the absurdity of the existing world.
Yes.
Played up by 10, right? Like, you know, the idea that, like, the blind man would be fumbling around like that is funnier because the tone's so serious, you know? But in some ways I see what you mean. Like, Spaceballs, for example.
Yeah.
The first scene of that movie is a gag.
Yep.
Because the first scene of the movie is, like, the Star Destroyer going through, and it's friggin', 5 minutes long?
Yeah.
Trying to, like, make fun of the fact of how, like, long the shot is.
Yes.
This movie definitely takes its time setting up this scenario. But I think that makes sense. It's playing on a darker movie, so therefore a darker tone helps the parody and helps the satire more. Because it's able to create that tone, and then therefore the absurdity of what's happening becomes more amplified. Whereas with Star Wars, like, you don't have to do a lot to, like, make Star Wars kind of ridiculous in the outset, so you don't have to, like, set up that mood. You just kind of you can jump right in, and then it works.
Mean, with this, like, I was emotionally invested in the story before we even got to, like, a lot of the gags. I was like, oh, this is going to be a good film.
Yeah.
This is not going to be like, oh, I'm getting ready to laugh at everything. I'm like, oh, wow, this is going to be an interesting film.
Yeah, it definitely is. It kind of almost reminds me of Hot Fuzz. I know that's a weird comparison to make, but, like, Hot Fuzz,
I see where you're coming from.
Like, is a movie where it toes the line between gag and serious. Like, it has serious moments. Like Nick Angel trying to beat this corrupt system and be a good cop.
Yeah.
You know, there are character beats and, like, actual like moments of sincerity in a gag film. It's not like all punchline. It has weight to it.
No, absolutely. But even then, like, his character is played up to very comedic levels.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because he's so rigid in trying to be a law-abiding man, that is in itself comedy.
Yeah.
But in this, like, at the beginning, Frankenstein is a very serious character.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little fun with, like, the subject, and he accidentally stabs himself when he gets too infuriated because of his own horrid past that he does not want to recognize. But, like, he was, like, if you put him into another film, he's a character I would follow.
Yeah.
He was a character I would follow and emotionally invest in. Like, is he going to overcome his horrid history, or is he going to succumb to those things? Which he does succumb, and I'm like, oh, wow, you did it.
Yeah, I think it is really interesting when you have a film, because, like, I think most comedy films, and you're right, a lot of comedy films, like, they don't have that emotional or serious core to them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's, you know, joke after joke after joke, and, like, you know, even Mel Brooks movies for a lot of the time, like I can't say I would get emotionally invested in Lone Star.
Yeah.
And what's the Chewbacca character's name?
Barf.
Barf. There we go. Like, I can't, like I couldn't, like, get invested in them as serious characters because by design their characters are spoofs. Whereas Victor Frankenstein, he's a spoof. They don't pronounce his name right, but, like, he has a legitimate core to him.
Yes.
And which is interesting. It's definitely different from a lot of other comedy films.
And even a number of his like the comedic beats with his character are, like, in line with the story with the character progression.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he goes off the rails and makes a man, and that's part of the story progression. He gets very upset when, like, he figures out the brain is wrong, but that's part of the story progression. He's showing off the creature to the world and wants to experiment it. But, like, you know what? Why not show him that, like, this creature can be sophisticated by doing putting on the Ritz?
Yeah, that was a funny scene.
Like, they are comedic, but like, in a way, they are sensible.
Yeah, no, they make sense within the universe of the film.
Yes.
Also, back to Gene Wilder again. He is delightfully over the top in this movie. He plays it just too much. just enough. Like he's acts in a way that you can get invested in his character, but he also plays it up just enough that it's hilarious. Like he yells almost everything in like a dramatic tone of like someone who's on stage and wants to play to the play to the peanut gallery.
Almost the melodramatic.
Yeah, he's sucking because like.
But that was basically the style of the time.
Yeah, so it makes sense that he would act that way, but like that sort of highfalutin, like over the top melodrama way of acting is funny on its own. So like, you know, the fact that he's playing that up, but at the same time maintaining, you know, the emotion is pretty great.
Yes.
And man, like, awesome. Gene Wilder's just great, guys.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen a bad performance from him.
No.
Have you ever seen a movie where he did poorly?
No, granted, I'm not sure I've seen many besides Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
I've seen him in Blazing Saddles.
He's
in a lot of Mel Brooks movies. Like he's in The Producers and he's in Blazing Saddles.
He was in The Producers.
Yes. There was a movie adaptation, not the musical.
No. I know that. I have seen that. I'm trying to think. Was he the assistant?
The accountant dude.
Yes.
That guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah. No. He does a great. Like I don't think like all 4 of those roles he was wonderful in each of them. By the way, Blazing Saddles, another good Mel Brooks movie.
Another time.
Yeah. Another time. So much. There's so much to talk about Mel Brooks.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess maybe the next thing we ask, is there anything you didn't like about the movie? That you thought was like...
I think I was invested in enough that there were some jokes that fell a little flat to me.
Okay, yeah.
Like the one at the beginning where like he was saying goodbye and they're like, oh, you don't kiss me on the lips, I got a party later. I'm like, okay, don't touch the hair. Okay, don't wrinkle the clothes. And like, how are we gonna goodbye elbow?
Yeah, by the way, for context, the scene that Michael's talking about is the one where Victor's going to the castle and he's saying goodbye to Elizabeth.
Yes.
And she doesn't want to be touched.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Then that I guess that like
there were certain there was like, I don't know, just there were a few like, I think for me this movie straddles a pretty nice balance of serious and comedic.
Yeah.
There were a couple of moments that I personally think were not necessarily well served.
Yeah. Like what?
That is the main one I can think off the top of my head. Like that kind of a joke was fine, and there is a rule of threes. But
yes.
I don't know. I think they played it up a little too much.
Yeah, I think that's...
Also, it was also kind of before they started really getting to the puns, so I think that was like...
It was still in like the more serious atmospheric setup part of the movie, so it didn't... You were still in that like serious mode, so the joke didn't land as well.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like when we get to like the rolling in the hay stuff, like, oh, okay, that's funny. But also that was like a quick thing.
Yeah.
And like the Frau Brüher.
Yes.
Frau Brüher thing was a little, like I said, a little too repetitive. Mm-hmm. But like, it was a joke to be set up. Igor had a little fun with it, and like, wait, Brüher. And I'm like, okay, that one you got me for.
Yeah, I think some of I guess it's one of Mel Brooks' weaknesses in some ways. Like, he's the kind of comedian who just wants to do as many jokes as possible in repetition. You know, there'll be in that method, not every joke lands a bullseye. So I think that most of the like good jokes happen in the middle part of the movie. The beginning part probably has a couple that aren't as funny, and they might give you like but they're not like laugh out loud. Holy crap, that's hilarious.
But in comparison, for those kinds of jokes. An example that I liked was like when Frankenstein was first shown in his room and the Frau was being like, would you like a little bit of brandy before you retire? And I was like, no, thank you. Some more milk? No, thank you. How about some Ovaltine? Nothing. Thank you. Good night. That was well done.
Yeah, that was really funny. I think the best part of that setup was how slow it was. Like, she would go to leave, and then she's like, 1 milk, and then, like, goes back. And
the timing was good. Mm-hmm. It was also, like, a nice twist on, like, a standard setup. And it was like, this is also something, like, reasonable that people would do.
Yeah.
I could totally see, even in real life, like, the old lady that you just want to spend a night at our creepy castle is like, would you like anything? Brandy? No, thank you. Something else? No, thank you. Something else, because you're just trying to be a hospitable host, and the other person is like, I'm just tired. Can you leave?
I think that's a really good point. The fact that, like, it plays up things that are relatable and how funny that can be.
Yeah.
You know, like, I have too. Like, my grandma or one of my family friends is always being like, would you like this? Would you like that? How about that? And I'm like, dude, like, I only can eat and drink so much. Like, thank you, but no thank you. So that relatability is really important. I also think that there was a just enough fourth wall breaking that it wasn't like too much in your face, but it was enough. Pretty much a lot of it was Igor, and I'm glad they had like one character who did it. You almost felt like he was sort of like not of that, like he was sort of separate from. In the sense that he was the only one who did it, and I don't know. Pretty much everything that he did was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, was there a moment you did not like, or a part of it that you didn't care for?
It's hard. I think I agree that some of the jokes that fell a little. There were some jokes that fell a little flat. I think. So the stuff with Elizabeth probably wasn't as funny as the rest of the stuff. I'm
not sure if that was because she was a weak actress or if it was just how the part was written.
Yeah, it was kind of weird how her. I guess because the joke is that like she's like super like into Victor but doesn't want to like do anything. Like, I'm not. It's sort of a weird thing.
She's like the outsider in this.
Yeah, and I guess they were really included her more as to sort of riff on like the wife of Frankenstein too.
Yeah, the Bride of Frankenstein.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, because at some point at the end of the movie, Elizabeth falls in love with
the creature.
The creature because he
He's got very large bratwurst. He's got a very large bratwurst. He is a 7.5 foot tall man, so he's obviously got large everything. It goes without saying.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, she is enchanted by stuff, and then she becomes the Bride of Frankenstein, and I thought that was kind of a funny sight gag at least. But aside from that, and aside from like the name, like I feel like they probably, if she wasn't in the movie, it wouldn't have been a loss.
No.
It wouldn't have, like, I don't think any of her.
The only thing that would have been lost is the last joke of the film, which is another bratwurst joke.
Yes.
Another. Yeah.
That I have to say though, at the end of the film when they just zoom into Gene Wilder's face and he just goes, I lost it. I was like, oh my god, just that setup. Oof. Good stuff. That would be the only thing that was lost. But aside from that, I think that probably the stuff with Elizabeth wasn't as funny as like the rest of of what was going on. But I think most of the other gags were fairly good.
Yeah.
The only thing that got me, I guess it's because I've played viola before, so every time they played the violin, I got really angry because, well, the Frau Brucher didn't. She did not move her fingers on the strings at all, and she was also playing like over the finger bar. Well, you're supposed to not play it over there. You're supposed to play it more towards the bridge.
as soon as you said that, I was like, it's about how she was playing it.
Yeah.
And she was not holding it. I didn't catch it. But, like, if anyone's ever heard of Hogan's Heroes...
I don't know
Okay, it's an older TV show. I mean, it's not relevant to this, but, like, slight plot just says you know what it is. It's a TV show about Allied POWs in a Nazi Germany prisoner of war camp.
Oh, okay.
And it's a comedy from, like, the 70s.
Interesting.
And you know what's even more interesting is, like, all the main Nazi people are played by Jews. So
fun. Interesting.
Yeah. So they were like, why not? Let's do a subversive take, because it was all comedic stuff.
Yeah.
But I do remember there was a specific episode where the head of the prison camp was, like, playing the violin, and, like, it was blatantly obvious, like, the notes were changing and his hand was just there.
Yeah.
Because, like, especially with how the camera shot was, it was like the not moving hand was right in your face. But in, like, most of her moments, it was a little more obscured.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't playing it for very long, so she didn't have to, you know, the focus wasn't on her, so it was fine. And, like, Gene Wilder, when he was pretending to play the violin, he actually moved his fingers. Although, he didn't do vibrato, despite the fact that the piece did vibrato. Vibrato, for those of you who don't know, is like when you sort of wiggle your hand on the string in order to make it have like a kind of sound to it.
And, like, you should definitely try to be as accurate as possible, and I think modern films do a significantly better job of that nowadays.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's a spoof movie, also it's a minor detail, also it's mostly because I played an instrument like it before, and so I can tell when someone's faking it, you know?
But, like, what Gene Wilder was doing is something that probably the average person would not pick up on.
No.
Unless they've had violin or viola or similar lessons.
Yeah.
What Frau was doing... certainly more unreasonable.
Yeah. Yes.
But.
Yes. Oh, by the way, I think her name is just Brucher because Frau. I think Frau is.
Yeah, that's just
Madame and like because like Air is Mister, so I think Frau is.
Yeah.
Ma'am, Mrs.
Yeah, but she was the only one referred to as Frau, so that's why I was referring to her as Frau.
Okay, very fair point.
Because I could.
You can't do Brucher.
Yeah, I can't do Frau Brucher. No. Also, I was, like, having problems with remembering the name of her, so I figured it'd be easier to call her Frau.
That's fine. I thought I would point that out.
Yeah. But.
Yeah, and I also have to shout out, like I said, shout outs to the music too. Like I said, I thought that the fact that the music quality, not so much the actual music, but the music quality is very reminiscent of early film cinema.
Yes.
And that I liked a lot. I think that can change like how you like how if it had been like stellar good quality film score even in the 70s, it would have changed the way that the movie looked or felt, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think is there anything else you wanted to say about this movie?
Except that, I mean, nothing besides, like, my final review. So do you have any other thoughts before I say, like, my final review?
Not really.
Okay. So for me personally, as someone who has not seen it before, I give it a solid 1 thumb up. Possibly 1.5 thumb up. Not like the best movie, but it's something I would definitely watch again. I certainly enjoyed. Like, doesn't like make my top 10 list of stuff, but it was still a very good movie. Do not say I didn't like it at all. I'm just like,
you're allowed to say you thought it was only okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was certainly good. I'm just like, yeah, I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch the musical instead, though.
Definitely. I'm not gonna give like a thumbs up or a rating for it, but I definitely think it's a good movie. Like I said, not one of Mel Brooks' best films. Well, probably one of his better films, because there's some that he has done that aren't as funny or as interesting, but definitely high up there. Like I said, Gene Wilder alone is worth the price of admission, in my opinion. He's just that great in it. And just, you know, if you're a fan of like old horror movies, if you're a fan of comedy, if you're into spoof movies, this one is definitely a good one to check out. And even if you're not into the spoof movie, I think that this one's different enough that it might, sway you and stuff like that. Good movie. I definitely watch it if you get the chance. It's on Netflix, so now is the better time than ever to watch it.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's all we have to say on Young Frankenstein. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SoundJack426. Also, please consider donating on my Patreon page to help support the channel. All the links will be in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. This is SoundJack and Alyssa signing off.